Okay, so yeah, I thought we'd talk about right effort because yesterday I had two sets that really, contrasted from each other. The first sit I had, I was, really focusing on joy because in a lot of my sits I've been having, which I've told you about this in the past, I've been having those some strong emotions come up or strong feelings, sensations. Like sadness and toward the negative side, but and also a lot of bodily movements that can be distracting, like my body rocking and things like that. And so on the first sit I decided to just ignore all that and put all that noise in the background, basically, so to say, and then and just cultivate joy, which I was able to do, but it took a lot of effort, really. I wasn't having the thoughts that I were having was in the background, so I was getting, I don't know, I was getting concentrated, but the concentration took a lot of effort, I felt like. And then yesterday, my second set, I played with surrendering, so like when those strong feelings would come up, I had like a mantra of like, basically surrender. So I was really allowing the emotions, bodily movements to do their thing, and I would, just let go into them, basically. And I don't know, and when I say these strong feelings are coming up, it's not that detrimental to my life. Like, it's not something like that's bringing me into a really bad state in daily life. Like, I feel
But
like
you're
it's,
calling them strong.
yeah, they're strong, but I've been dealing with them for so long. I feel like, it's
Can
like,
you give me a better handle on what you mean then by these feelings,
yeah, like
these strong feelings?
so it's a really heavy feeling in my belly, my face. My face will get like quivery, like my chin will start quivering, and then I'll feel like,
Is that quivering with that's associated or accompanied by crying?
well, the crying. So I don't get the full crying, but my face will start making crying faces, but it doesn't feel like. Sometimes the sadness will come up with the crying face, but the crying face is like, I mean, and then this happens in daily life sometimes too, like, or the quivering of my chin will happen sometimes, like it'll just start, and then, but I don't usually get to the full crying. Maybe sometimes I'll finally let out a cry, but um, I don't know. My body is just like, you know,
So what you're talking about, though, that's giving rise to those sensations is the emotion of sadness.
yeah. I think, I mean, I don't have context to it. Like, I'm not getting thoughts or images with it, but I feel like it must be
Is
sadness
this
just
new
because of my.
sadness? Is this new sadness or old sadness?
It must be old because I've been.
Must be.
Yeah, because I've been dealing with this for years. Like, since I started or not since I started meditating, but when I got into meditation deeply, started meditating at higher frequencies, and like first when all that bodily movement or PT started happening, right? It was coming with no emotions, and then I went on a 10-day retreat, and then I like forced my body still, like I really made an intention to keep it still, and then all this nasty stuff came up, and I really
Was
sat
that a
with it.
Goenka retreat?
No, it was a teacher from um the Mind Chula Dasa. His name is Tucker Peck, but he works a lot with Chula Dasa. Um,
Oh, okay. Yes, I know. I know of Tucker. I haven't met him physically, nor have we done Skype calls together, but we've exchanged emails many times.
Yeah, yeah. So it was with Tucker. It was with Tucker, and he kind of, he kind of after the retreat, because he said it was one of the stronger cases that he's seen of these. He called them kriya, but I guess piti would be a more accurate term of like the
I
bodily
don't.
movements.
I'm more concerned with. You see, Goenka has that at the end of the retreats for the Goenka retreats, and it's called strong determination sittings,
Mm, strong. Oh, I see.
where the student does not move his legs or his arms or hands, nor does he
Yeah.
open his eyes for the full time, which is generally between 45 minutes and a full hour.
Oh no,
Was that what you were practicing?
no, it wasn't like that. It was more like, because when my body moves, it's like um, if I really kind of, and I've played with this at home, like just like tense up kind of, and then I could stop it from moving, but my body gets so sore, and it like at the end of the session, I'm like, my body is just tired from holding it up because it's not relaxed. And just the emotions come up because it wants to shake it wants to shake like that, and then my head will like be turning like this during meditation, and it's just involuntary, but if I really willed it, I could stop it, and then but I never knew how to I don't I mean I never got some clear. I also got different answers on how to work with this, so I've always been kind of confused, but lately I've just been letting it do its thing, and then keeping it in the background. But now I'm getting ever since that retreat, I started getting emotions. I feel like that are that come up with the movements too. Because when they first started coming, when the movements started coming at first, there was no emotions. It was just movement. Um, but yeah,
Let
so
us say that all you could see was the movement.
yeah, okay, yeah. All I could see was the movement. Yes, that's more accurate. Um, and sometimes my face will just like make faces, even even outside of meditation. It'll be like an angry face, or and it's like something, it's like alien to me, but the emotion does come up with it now sometimes, but it feels like energy's pulling my face toward anger or
Would you
sadness.
believe that many people, if not everyone, has involuntary movements of the body, even facial gestures?
Yes, I do. Yeah, like
All right. So
micro
basically,
expressions.
what's happened with you is that you're beginning to wake up to things that have been there all along.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And in fact, they work hand in hand in the sense that the more you wake up to them, the more you see them, but then the more visible they allow themselves to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so it appears that it's coming up in frequency, but in fact, what's coming up in frequency is your ability to remember to look at that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, um, one of the things then that we have to begin to understand is that um, I'll just say it like this: step 1, 2, 3, and 4 of anapanasati is in many cases students try to practice them in that order. Step 1, 2, 3, and 4, as if a step was a step and they were in the army. They
Mm-hmm.
don't understand, oh no, this is a dance, and a
Mm.
lot of stuff has, especially the step 4 of tranquilizing the body.
Mm.
And I would recommend that you not do that, that you, at least at this stage, should be staying with the level of um, developing the skill of watching and noticing the body, to notice these things, to note them well. And now to back up a bit for one of the things that you said about the background stuff, that's really kind of an important point. And that in the Mahasi system, they have a cure for that they call noting. And what that means is to bring the mind to the fore of what's happening right now and kind of tell yourself a little story about it, as opposed to having a mind that's strong and powerful just enough to be here now while all of this racket is going on in your ear, or let us say the brain's ear, that is still there. There's still no real peace left. It's just more hindrance. And we have to start to work with that directly. And so the Mahasi method is in the sense of noting to see what's happening now, including that if we hear the background, it's like, okay, I can hear you stuff in the background.
Mm-hmm.
You come out here and start talking about the present moment, and then we'll listen to what you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
But so long as you're going to be in the background, it's just a racket. Okay, so this is one of the ways of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is that in fact this stuff is not in the background at all. It's just that your mind is getting distracted while you're in one breath. And
Mm-hmm.
so you start the breath and have a thought, and then you're in the middle of the breath and you have a thought, and then you're into the breath and you have another thought, and then it's back and forth and back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's certainly an improvement than the mind just wandering off and just staying off and you forget all about it.
Yeah.
But in these cases, what we can talk about that's going to be of enormous value is to start limiting what you're going to allow the mind to think about.
Okay.
And we can express it in the form of noting, in the sense that you're only going to allow thoughts about now, thoughts about the Dhamma, thoughts about the way that I'm practicing Dhamma right now,
Mm.
how the practice is going, what's being practiced, what stage and steps, etc., like that, and do a fairly thorough investigation of what's going on with that sharp mind that you're now allowing to be as a runaway renegade.
Mm.
Let's bring that part of the mind and put it to work. Start evaluating the Four Noble Truths. What is it like to be in the Third Noble Truth? Is this it? You know, that's the way to start thinking. Bring your mind's
Okay.
thoughts to this present moment. Don't allow that background noise to be anything other than part of your practice.
Okay. So you're saying I should do more like a noting practice on the cushion?
Not not necessarily.
Uh-huh.
There's there is kind of a difference. Let me explain it to you this way. Because most Westerners do noting far too strongly. So let's use it in the sense of the word witness. There are two jobs or two things about a witness. One is he saw what happened, he witnessed it. And the other one is that he's in court now, sitting in the witness chair, telling a story. Be
Mm-hmm.
sure that the kind of noting that you're doing is the noting of the seer, the watcher, rather than storytelling about it.
Okay.
And storytelling is a whole lot better than letting the storytelling go off anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to tell yourself stories, tell it in the here now, and that's what we mean by noting. But a better way of noting is by not doing a lot of talking about it, but rather the talking should be more of what's happening in the here now. Is the mind sharp? What state is the mind in right now? How's the breathing? Is this really a good deep in breath? Am I actually enjoying it that much, or could I enjoy it even more?
Mm. Okay.
And start evaluating this moment. Investigation. That's what it's all about. That's why the second factor of the enlightenment is the investigation, and it
Yeah.
should become unremitting. It's also when it is unremitting and in this way, that is also um, actually a way of describing right noble view, because that's what right noble view is doing a thorough investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay for yourself or for you to tell yourself stories about the investigation as you're making it,
Okay. So I'll really hone in on the investigation part.
as opposed to letting unwholesome thoughts in your mind. In fact, what I've been doing is giving you kind of a guidepost as what's wholesome and what's unwholesome.
Yeah. The Dhamma is wholesome. Gotcha.
Now, the Dhamma is wholesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday and last week is unwholesome.
Mm-hmm.
15 years ago is really unwholesome.
Yeah.
300 years ago, that stuff is really unwholesome.
Okay. So would I keep so would I keep a meditation object in this moment, or is it more like just letting my uh investigating whatever my mind wants to go to in the framework of the Dhamma?
Actually, most importantly, if we talk about it from this respect, and the next time that you call, we'll talk about it in depth. But what you want to do is to get the jhana factors together so that you can stay in that state of sukha
Mm-hmm.
and maintain that. And but that's where you want to collect and think your thoughts about is that I'm going to maintain this state of joy. No matter what, nothing is going to take me away from this. So I'm going to now be on guard. The feelings of sadness, if that comes up, it's not going to come up strong enough to pull me away from this
Mm-hmm.
state of sukha.
Okay.
If the thoughts are accompanied with that feeling of sadness, like watching someone die or thinking about someone that has died or something like that, then that thought also can be chased out
Mm-hmm.
with the joy of, aha, I catch you, I see you, and right now you're not strong enough to interrupt my pleasant state. That I'm the boss here. I can think the thoughts that I want to think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's done from a state of satisfaction. And I like this place. It's good enough, and I'm going to maintain this. And I'm not going to let the mind deteriorate into yesterday's news, yesterday's bad news.
Gotcha. So really joy is going to be my main meditation objects, and investigation will be my awareness, or will
Yes,
be gotcha.
satisfaction. We use
Satisfaction.
the word joy in the sense of gladdening the mind, but in this
Yeah.
case, we're talking about sitting in a state of satisfaction. And that satisfaction is based on success.
Okay.
You begin to feel really successful, and that's the piti, and the sukha then is the satisfaction,
Mm-hmm.
and you bring yourself to a state that's so nice then that you do not want to leave it. You want to maintain this position, maintain this place. It's free from hindrances. It's free from that stuff, and then it'll come up, and when you say out, you go out, go away, go away.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not careful, if you're not mindful, then that sadness will come up and overwhelm you. And the next thing you know, you're doing an involuntary dance.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. So
But
investigation.
even if that happens, you can say, "Ah, I catch you now. Now I see you."
Mm-hmm.
So out you go, you old bad thoughts and you old bad feelings, and then you take a deep breath with that joy of the moment. Give yourself a real kick of satisfaction that you really like what you're doing right now, and let that kick of satisfaction then melt back into success. I mean,
Okay.
satisfaction. The success melts into satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this. You could do this. And not only that, but this practice leads one to a state of mind that is superior to most humans.
Mm-hmm.
This is the noble mind. It's the highest point of humanity. And now that you know that you can do this, that should give you great satisfaction that you can overcome the mind. You can become totally noble in your life, where everything is an easy joy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're on your way. Every time you remember it, you're there.
Yeah. So so it doesn't matter if I use but I can use the breath, right? Like say with
This is always with the breath. Do not
okay.
let go of the breath.
Don't let
With
go of the
every
breath.
step of piti and sukha, it's with the breath. This
The
is
breath.
anapanasati. Don't
Okay.
let go of the
The
breath.
breath.
But we're
Okay.
talking about there's 10,000 things to do with that long, deep in breath and 10,000 things to do with that long, deep out breath. What are those 10,000 things to do? Well, at least 5,000 of them is enjoy the heck out of it.
Yeah. Okay. And then so a little to narrow it down a little bit when I'm focusing on the breath, will I focus on it at the nostrils or do the abdomen, the whole
Only you
body?
need to do is to
Mhm.
understand that you're breathing in and that you're breathing out.
Gotcha. That's
All
the
right, because and then that leaves the mind free to do a lot of other
oh
stuff, but it's
okay.
always on that anchor to keep coming back to the breath, so that you are
Gotcha.
keeping track of: is this an in breath or is this an out breath? Is this a
Yeah.
long deep breath that I'm doing consciously, or is this a more natural breath, a short breath?
Okay,
And
that's
that
helpful.
only and that just takes so little time to do that you've got time to do all this other stuff. The mind is fast.
Yeah, I
The
know.
Buddha even knows how fast it is.
Yeah.
One of the sutras says, the mind, oh monks, is so fast that I don't even have an analogy for how fast the mind is. So,
Yeah.
yes, there's a lot to be done. All 16 stages of anapanasati, 14 of them is training. And the training is done with the in breath and with the out breath.
Mhm.
Gladdening the mind is done with the in breath and the out breath.
Yeah.
And in fact, at that point of sati, we want to interrupt that breathing because it has already, we've lost track of it generally. And that point of sati is okay, wake up call, wakey, wakey. The mind
Okay.
is not watching the breath. Caught you. All right, take a deep one.
Yeah.
And make it a play, make it joyful, make this fun, interesting, delightful,
Okay.
and totally successful, because you are actually becoming successful at humanity's highest goal. Think of it as that important and
Yeah.
that valuable.
Mhm. Okay.
And you're successful at it. You can do this.
Yeah. So when
Wow, that's not that.
so when I'm taking the breath, should I just do like big deep inhales like this? And then like the whole
You
time
can
when I
from time
remember?
to time, or you can do them more slowly. You
Uh-huh.
can experiment with the time frame. In fact, that's a really good idea to get to know the body of breath, to
Mhm.
get to know the body. So sometimes you're going to do that long, deep in breath very quickly with a very quick out breath. An example of that very quick one would be as you're about to cough. If you've got a cough, what do?
Oh
All
yeah, yeah.
right.
Mhm.
So that's the really short in breath, but it's actually, when I talk about it in that regard, that's short as a time frame, but it is actually how much air can you get into the body as quickly as you can. Musicians train for this. Because after that really one in-breath that fills the lungs, they're going to be playing now a half a measure or two measures or long notes or whatever like that. In fact, one of the things we used to train was how long can you hold a note?
Mm-hmm.
And the tuba dudes could only do about 45 seconds, but trumpet players, a full minute, 10 seconds. Tromboners can get almost up to a minute. But it
Oh.
depends upon the instrument and the embouchure and a lot of stuff like that. But I mean, we used to do this all the time when you go between bands and whatnot. That was the first thing. That was the point of competition. Was how long can you hold the note? I don't know if every band does that or whether they're doing any of that. It's like marbles, I guess. But in my day, it was how long can you hold a note, and that has to do also not with a really long, slow in breath, but it's a sudden in breath. It was like, and I won't go on because I can do that for a long time. Everybody will get bored, and I'm still on the same breath, by the way. You know, I hadn't taken an in breath yet, and you saw how short it was for that in breath it was, and how long this out breath is lasting, and I'm still doing it. I haven't lost it yet, but I'm about to now, and I'm going to go ahead and quit. But this time when I take an in breath, now it's a slow in breath, a slow. Because now it's with the success.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So you can see that there's various qualities of these long breaths. Some of them are of short duration. Some of them are really, really long. And in fact, you want to experiment with getting long, slow, deep breaths.
Mm-hmm.
And then the out breaths. And in the out breath, leave it empty, empty, empty. And then you take the in breath again. Slow. And then you begin the out breath. It sit on like that. I don't want to bore the audience, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
That will really energize the mind. I mean, the mind just gets really bizarro with high energy
Mm-hmm.
by doing those long, slow, deep in breaths and out breaths. So you can experiment with that.
Okay. So I'll just play with the different types of breaths.
Mm-hmm. That will help you to get to know your body, which is the whole point of step 3 of anapanasati, is experiencing the body.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
All right, so that's the answer, and I haven't thought about it before, but you asked the question, and so this is a good marker that there are many kinds of long, deep breaths. The one that I use as an example is the one of the winter, the sudden wind. Uh, the, let us say in the casinos at the crap table
Mm-hmm.
or at the slot machine, they put the money in, and it's that feel of wind that they
Mm-hmm.
have.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's actually one of the breaths that we can start working on to get that feeling of, sudden satisfaction. Caught the mind. That in fact, if you think about those slot machines, those people are sitting there pulling that lever not to get the coins out of it. The coins are only almost an icon or a proof that really what they're looking for is that sensation of the win. They want to be successful. Is the winner. And that in fact, hello, Cam, I'm happy to see you. All righty. Oh, you've been shopping. Oh, good, 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 good. Oh, your bag is heavy, huh? You got a heavy bag. Excuse me. Bandits on. So, talking about the breathing, yes, start paying attention to the various ways that you can breathe. Start experimenting with them, but always in the sense that you're satisfied with this is what we're doing right now, and that we're not going to let old bad feelings or old bad thoughts come into the mind. That we're going to keep it here now because we like doing this,
Mm-hmm.
like being satisfied.
Mm.
And because of that satisfaction that we have, that is based upon the success, which at that point is called piti,
Mm-hmm.
that win, that joy. So as we gain that, that's also associated again with the breathing, and almost in the sense that the piti is the in breath. It's the
Mm-hmm.
and then the sukha is the out breath, the relaxation. The
Yeah.
and then at that relaxation point, it's like, and we're going to keep this. Now we've got applied and sustained thought. We've got the mind free from hindrance. We've got rapture and sukha. In fact, we've got all the jhana factors. This is first jhana. And we want to
Mm.
maintain that by not letting the old crap come in and to disturb this state that we're in.
Gotcha. So first jhana would be absorption state. When you talk about jhana, is that what you're referring to?
I'm not sure I want to talk about absorbed. That sounds like getting tranquilized, getting shot with a dart or something. And in fact, that's part of the problem with the word rapture,
Uh-huh.
is because rapture has the quality of getting wrapped up in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that the Christians have just really weirded out the word completely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But in any case, you could, for them you could say, well, if Jesus finally comes, then what a relief it is. Finally he's here, and I've done all of this praying and all of this being Christian good boy and all of that holy stuff that I don't really believe in, but at least now the rapture is here and I can take a rest. I've won. I put up with this religion. Finally it's over. That's the rapture. Don't tell them that I said that about
Okay.
their rapture. What a relief it is. Finally, this
Yeah.
this hellhole that God made for us, called the planet Earth, is over now.
Oh,
We have endured enough already. And so that has the quality of the rapture. Oh, wow, what a relief. It's over now.
Mm.
Now I'll go to heaven and be good naturally rather than here on earth where it's so damn much work. But little do they know, oh no, this rapture state that you think of as heaven, this success, this going home to God, is really this rapturous state that we're talking about called piti in Pali. And many people, when they get that kind of feeling, they'll mistake it. If the Christians have that kind of feeling that arises upon them, they'll think they're in the presence of God.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're just having good feelings right now. Feeling successful of being in the presence of God can
Mm-hmm.
be had with, I mean, the God's optional.
Yeah.
In fact, the dumb part about it is that the right definition of God is he's already been here. Why are you all of a sudden getting some kind of rapture? He should
Yeah.
have been that way all along. I mean, here he is.
Yeah.
Literally, just take a look.
Yeah.
God is at home in his paradise, and so are we. We're right here with him, all over
Yeah.
the place. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you think about it, God actually creeps and crawls right up your skin.
Yeah, that's true.
But the meditators also have those kind of peak experiences, and then they say, "Oh, I'm enlightened. It happened on April the 14th in 1974, or something like that, you know." And then they're all over the place with, "No, it was just an experience.
Mhm.
That's all it was. It was just an experience. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything." What
Mhm.
means anything are you free from defilements, and have you been free from defilements long enough that you can even say for yourself, yeah, I must be free from that. I haven't been angry in 5 years. That's
Yeah.
I've been
Oh,
an asshole since then, but I was never angry at
yeah.
it. So, in that regard, what we're saying is that these peak experiences are things that should be sought, developed, having skills, investigate it. What's the best you can feel? What's your very highest point? What is it that you're looking for? What is the very highest thing that you can ever have? Because if you can train the mind to gain that or something pretty close, then what else is there to want from the
Mhm.
world? Because you can already get all the good feelings that you want out of your own mind. You do not need the world to give you anything anymore.
Mm.
But that
Yeah.
takes real success. This is grounded in success.
Yeah.
Success is a quality. If we do not feel successful and satisfied, then we'll always think, well, maybe I can go back to the world and find something in there I like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But once you recognize, no, I got everything I need. I'm good to go. Thanks very much. Yeah, no hungers.
Mhm.
Then there really is no place to go and nothing to do because you're already satisfied completely. In that regard, that's a skill to be developed. Because if you come to the point that you're secure and satisfied, these, by the way, are the powers. And that continues on for you so that you're overflowing with this, then that overflowing is called wealth. You feel really
Mhm.
wealthy in the Dhamma.
Mm. Yeah.
So you naturally start to spread joy. You naturally start laughing with people.
Yeah. Because you're a rich man.
Because you're a rich man, exactly.
Yeah.
Practicing generosity. Actually, that's one of the things that I work with some of the students is to give them a project to go find bums and give them money, or go put. If you live in a community where there's people fighting over what's in the refrigerator, the thing to do is to go put some stuff in the refrigerator.
Mm.
With maybe a note like "Have at it."
Yeah.
So this is a way of practicing generosity, so that we begin to feel that
Mhm.
we do have enough, that everything is adequate. But the way to gain that spark of that feeling is by this practice of success, that you can do the things that the Buddha recommends. That in
Mhm.
fact you'll come soon to the point of recognizing no matter how obstructed the mind is with any of those hindrances, I can clean it out.
Mhm.
And if it becomes obstructed again, I can clean it out again. Ha ha.
Mhm.
Because that's that self confidence. That's in fact the first knowledge that is noble, supramundane, a factor of the path, and not shared by ordinary people. Ordinary people, they do not have that quality of, I can do this.
Yeah.
because we're all trained as victims.
Yeah. And that's something to cultivate, right? That I can do this. That's
I can
something.
do this.
Yeah.
Not cultivate the I can do this, but the can do.
Uh-huh. Can be done.
It can be done.
Mm-hmm.
This is possible. The Buddhist path is possible for anybody to follow it. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
So that cultivates that feeling of success, that feeling of joy, that feeling of can do. And so this is, in this regard, is why the teaching of the Buddha is so famous for being known as good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Because it works with success right from the very beginning. Where most Westerners, they want to say, oh, well, if I practice long enough, I'll get some benefit. Or
Yeah.
I'm beginning to see a little benefit here and there. No, that's not the way to practice. The way to practice is that you're getting good results right away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So effort
So do
isn't
you
really a thing,
go
right?
ahead?
So effort is when I'm practicing
This is
effort.
one's right effort. One's
Yeah.
right effort is the aha, I caught you.
Yeah.
Because if we
Okay.
don't take right effort, then we'll feel bad about what happens. When the sadness comes, the right effort will be, aha, I see you. The
Yeah.
wrong effort will be, oh, I feel so sad.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It does take effort. It
Mm-hmm.
does. But the more you practice, the effort becomes easier and easier to the point that it's almost like an energy.
Mm-hmm.
So that whenever you see dukkha, you're repelled from it. Yeah. And that's the skill that to be developed is right effort. And ultimately, the expression of right effort is
Is that is this how you are in meditation? You with all these just the goofiness of it? Like, I mean,
if
are
you
you
allow, okay, you can call it
uh,
goofiness, but we can call it joy. We can call
joy?
it
Yeah.
lila. We can call it
Uh-huh.
playfulness.
Yeah. So just play with it, right? Like just yeah.
Become enjoyable.
Yeah. Okay.
And if it requires goofiness, then yeah, you too can have a cartoon life.
Yeah. May I have a cartoon life?
It's not up to me.
No. I'm asking God.
Not up to him either. Is number one, is it up to you? Do you want something as nice as that? And number two, you up to it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's the can do. Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. Because that's the major part of doubt. The major part of doubt is, am I up to this task? Now that I recognize how valuable it is, how noble it is, and actually how easy it is to attain, do I give myself permission to do something so wonderful?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the answer is, yeah, baby, yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they don't feel like they deserve it. They haven't worked hard enough. performed in a puja. Because we're trained like that. I mean, that's the way that Christianity trains the people. Is no matter what you've done, it's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
You've got original sin, baby, and it won't wash off, not even with the blood of the lamb. You have to use borax. No, wait a minute, it's the other way around. So anyway, yeah, that's so funny because it could work. If somebody really wanted to get baptized properly, they would be free from sin, and they'd walk away from their sin completely confident. I am a follower of Jesus H. Christ, ha ha, and I refuse to sin again. And I'm going to be very watchful and very mindful that but you don't see Christians doing that. No, they go out, they come out of that baptism in the same Pesach lamb condition that they went into it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make a real transformation. Nobody comes out of the baptism determined to be sin-free, to be completely free from all of the crap.
Yeah.
So even though they've got a magical tool, they don't know how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Us Buddhists, we have to recognize and see actually what's going on.
Yeah.
We don't need a magical cure. We have to do it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still get that good feeling. That's the whole point, is that heaven does not belong to those who believe in it. Heaven belongs to those who know how to make it.
So that's what we're learning, huh?
Yep. That's what you're training. That's what you're practicing. That's what you're in training for, is the highest quality of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And you can. You know you can. And that gives you enormous self-confidence that you can do this.
Yeah.
And so in that regard, my job is not to be a coach. I'm a cheerleader.
Yeah. That's good.
And if I can point out what it is that needs to be done and give you basically the permission that you too can do this, then you can. And then my job is left to yippee-ki-yo-ki-yay. I was doing that before we started this. Back to business as usual.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
Well, now you can learn how to practice awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Let yourself be awesome.
Yeah.
Become satisfied. Because if you're satisfied, then you're overflowing. And then that's actually the best end of selfishness that I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have to be selfish. You've already got everything you need. Overflowing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Wayne, do you have any questions about this little talk we've had today?
No, I think yeah, I'm excited to go and put it into action.
Excellent. All right, we'll finish off now, and I'll go do whatever they want me to do in there, and I'll see you later.
All right.
Hey, bye-bye.
All right, bye, Dhammarato.